Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This time I decided to have a bit of a start on the Little Ute project. So this is the first time I've actually done any work on the hoist. The 929's just here for the couple of days because we're going to load it on the trailer this week because I've got drag racing next weekend. As you can see, just dropping the fluids out. Get this engine and gearbox package ready to come out of the car. Excuse me. I'll get that dropped. Probably need to move the car, get the tail shaft off, start undoing stuff. As you can see, it's very oily under here. That's a good thing. It means it doesn't rust. But I'll have to get that cleaned up and hopefully get this chassis repainted. Anyway, I'll get into it. And it's out. It kind of just happened. Managed to get the gearbox out by hand. Had to crane the engine out. It's a little bit too heavy. As you can see, it's quite small. There's a foot for size. So now to clear everything out of here that doesn't need to be here. So I guess that's kind of permanent. I just cut the old piston engine mounts out of the little ute, so we can get into trying to fit that nice 13B in there. So you can see the Series 2 gearbox is in, bolted up to the 13B, which is also in, just sitting there on, I've got a, you see it up there, the chains on the engine support bar. So my sump, this is a race cast. It's actually a front sump, so I've flipped it around just to see how it fits. But it runs into the steering arm. I could bring the engine forward a little bit, but even then I don't have a lot of space there. So Promaz do a nice billet piece that would fit, but it's really expensive. It'd be really nice though. So I think I might just, you can see here I've been drawing lines. I'm going to buy a race cast reverse sump and see how that fits. I might just chop the back out of it and weld a piece in to clear the steering arm and hopefully finish up by reducing this gap here because it's quite large, so it'd be nice to bring the front of the motor down a bit further. So we'll see what we can do there. The other thing I do is sort of gearbox mount. I think I have a Series 2 gearbox mount floating around somewhere. I'm just going to have to dig through my bits and pieces for that. Just a bit of pipe across the shifter opening, the ratchet strap. Learnt that off Skid Factory. So I wish I had that support bar when I did the Windsor. Oh my god, it's making life so much better. But so it's in, but it's not in. As for the actual engine mount, gonna stick with the front cover style mount. I'm gonna have to modify the bar mount, front bar mount. It's really long for some reason. Sorry, not even looking at it. So I might just move this bolt up to here or something. Oh, I can't do that. That's the sway bar link. No wonder they're so long. Maybe do a blind bolt, do a threaded insert into the frame. And then I'm looking at the ProMaz universal engine brace and then building something off that. Might be the way to go. My turbo manifold fits, which is interesting, but I really want to do the rear mount turbo. I think that'd be pretty cool. Probably saw, if you follow my socials, that thinking about sticking the turbo up here, plumb it over, watered air intercooler cartridge would be here, old fuel tank will turn into a water reservoir for that, and the pump assembly, run a radiator for it up the front here, behind the actual radiator. And I was thinking of doing a oil cooler in here somehow, and then exhaust to just kind of loop out and around into a muffler. Do a drop tank in here because I can increase the capacity quite a bit. It means removing that, bringing it back to here, incorporating the license plate mount and all that in it. Heaps of other things I'm thinking about, but you know, trying to just get the gearbox and engine mounted for now, and then worry about the rest of the stuff as I get to it. I do have a habit of getting ahead of myself, and I'm trying not to do that. Anyway, follow along. So after a bit of digging, I found my old pressed steel sump that I used to have. Turns out it's a pretty good fit. Now, the only thing I've had to do is I have to cut a hole in it. That's where the drain bung used to be, used to point that way. So that's no good to me. Cut that out, clearance there. I'll put the drain bung in here. So that's my sump sorted. Gearbox wise, as you can see, zip ties. That's how you mount your gearbox. Pair of big zip ties. No, I'll work on the engine mount before I finalise this gearbox mount too much. But just out of some weirdness, this 73 bodied ute, I can't tell you what the 1200 and the 4-speed year are, but I think they're a bit newer. Gearbox mount from the 4-speed fits the Series 2 RX-7 5-speed. Other shits and giggles, the drive shaft, the output shaft on the gearbox is the same spline count between the two gearboxes. So I can actually put the old drive shaft back into that gearbox. The only thing is it's too long. So I could technically get this running and shorten it and run it on the factory diff, which would be interesting. But I've got a Hilux diff over there that's going in because I want to break a gearbox, not a diff. Though it would be pretty cool to just get it on the road. Anyway, I'm going to have to work on this engine mount side of things. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know, I was thinking incorporating something into the bumper mount bracket here. I can't decide. I need something that's going to allow the bumper to be removable. But I also need something that's going to actually support the motor. I'll figure it out, and you'll see it when I do. So, sump's temporary mounted. You can see in there probably a little bit of a weld. So I took the corner off there and took the corner off there and moved the bung to here. Probably should have had it more in the side so it's not poking down, but I don't think it'll hit anything. That part of the car can't scrape because that's pretty much the center line of the front wheels. So there'll always be at least that distance off the ground, hopefully. You can probably see the light. See the corners of the welds in there. So I ordered the Pack Performance RX3 30mm setback engine plate, and hopefully what that'll do is that'll bring there's a mounting bush on that that'll come out to about here, so I should have that next week. Then I'm going to do a mount thing here and incorporate, still be able to bolt the bumper on and off and take the engine in and out independently of each other, so that's the goal anyway. Well, that's it for this update. So, engine's mounted. That's that setback engine plate I was talking about from Pack. So you can see the bend in it there. Just made these plates, or cut down bits of box section, welded them onto the frame. Then the mount sits into that. I know it's like mount on mount on mount, kinda, but it's what I thought was the best way to do it. I couldn't bring anything off the frame up here because that would interfere with the bumper mount. I didn't want to go redoing the bumper mounts, so I do have to do a bit more welding up through here, but I've got to do that with the engine out. So same on this side. Didn't want to interfere with the bumper mount, and I'll have to weld this corner out. But other than that, it's welded all the way around on the front, it's welded on the bottom, should hold, and I've got my gearbox mount done. So that's just a plate bolted up to this new frame that new bracket that I've welded on, and it just picks up the gearbox mount as well. So the whole idea of that is I can drop this plate off and I can pull the gearbox out. Every other way I thought of doing it, it was going to make it impossible to get the gearbox out. I know I have my hoist and I can get under here pretty easy, but I just want to make sure that just in case I don't have a hoist for some reason or whatever, I can pull the engine and gearbox out through the front and I can get the cross member out from underneath the car. So did that. And that also allows me to then take these brackets off and clearance this section of the cross member here just to bring the exhaust up a bit higher because it's going to hang below the cross member, otherwise below the frame rail. And I'm trying to tuck things up a bit more, as high as I can. So the utes look like they sit pretty high just because they're a frame on chassis. Sorry, a cab on chassis, and they're such a small car. So if I can bring things higher up into the car, I can sit the car a bit lower and it won't look as funny. So now I've actually got to drop the ute off the hoist. It's going to come down off the hoist, probably pull the gearbox and engine out again, finish welding those, clear out the engine bay, put the engine and gearbox back in, but it's got to come off the hoist because I've got to get ready for drag racing. I've actually got to put Rachel's SS on the hoist. We've got a couple of bits and pieces on the shelf over there to go in for that. And I need to free the hoist up so I can service the Subaru. And after this round, I'll also be servicing the 99, and just in case I need to do its oil pump. Anyway, that's it for the little ute. I'll keep chugging away at it, doing little bits and pieces, and you'll see those videos as they come. I'm hoping to do them regularly, but you know, life sometimes gets in the road. Race cars sometimes get in the road. Anyway, as always, keep it shiny side up and off the walls, and I'll see you trackside.